Hello and welcome to the Temple of Nuit astrological forecast for the Gemini full moon happening here, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Sunday, the 15th of December at 8:01 p.m. in the evening at sunset will be the exact time of the full moon. I am recording this on the day of the full moon on the 15th of December at 1:35 p.m. So really in this Gemini full moon energy. My name is Yvonne Wildheart, and welcome. If you haven't tuned in before, welcome to this temple. This temple is in dedication to the goddess Nuit, who is the Egyptian goddess of the stars and death and rebirth. And we honor her and we open up this channel to receive her messages. For those who tried to tune in on the Sagittarius new moon, my deepest apologies. I was totally taken away by the Mercury retrograde that was traveling through Sagittarius, which was banging up against all my planets, especially my natal Mercury. So I sort of come back and I couldn't really move or speak, literally injured my knee. So, this is what happens when we fully open ourselves up to the astrology and we can see it. Things happen to us all the time, but when we are tuning into the astrology and how it's affecting our charts, we can see the patterns and know that it's not going to be forever and things do move through. But without this mapping, you'd just be in it. You wouldn't really understand what would be going on. So this is why I love this work. I love the embodiment of it. I love being able to tune into what is happening and I see how it moves through us all, which is it's very, very exciting. So here we are, Gemini full moon. Before I launch into the channel reading for this Gemini full moon, I just wanted to share some of the things that are coming up. Part of my greater work here, not just in the Temple of New Wheat, but also I have a Temple of Inanna that I also serve in. I run the Invoking Inanna journey with a dear sister, Ali Riverstar, and we're about to start our 13th journey, starting on I think it's the 3rd of February, which is very early February. This is a 5-month journey, guided journey through the underworld, where as a group we open up to our pains and our hurts and our inner shadows so we can bring it out, we can see it, and we can move it through, but not just personal, that we work with the collective winning as well. So it's a very, very powerful journey. So basically, we make friends with our darkness so we can step out more fully in our light, without feeling heavy. It just unveils our lightness. And with the astrology coming up for 2025-26, this is the perfect time to do it, because this is the healing needs to happen now. Whether you're aware or not, everybody's going through this process. So a journey through the underworld with a group of very conscious descent and ascent through the underworld with a group just makes that transition so much more easeful, because we're all journeying it together and we're reflecting off each other, and it's really well supported. So if you want to know more about the Invoking Inanna journey, let me know. So you can find me on Instagram at Yvonne Wildheart, or you can go to my dodgy website, yvonnewildheart.com. I still haven't put the dates up, but that will come. Or you can email me at yvonne.wiley, WYLIE, @gmail.com. Or find me on Messenger. Everybody finds everybody these days. Also, the power animal for this coming Inanna journey is dragonfly. So just this energy of just transformation from being that serpent under the water to making our way out to the air to be transformed into a dragon. This is the energy of this coming Invoking Inanna journey. And as I said, this is our 13th one. Very, very powerful. And it just keeps getting more epic and more expansive and more light filled as we go on. Each journey is different, but at each time there's another element of expansiveness and growth as well. So that's very, very exciting. Also, I have the Temple of Nuit Astrological Study Group, which you can find on Patreon. And I'm still doing one-on-one readings, so both astrological readings for natal charts, but also for the 2025 year ahead, which also, if you choose, can come with a report as well, just highlighting all the major transits and how that's highlighting in your chart and how that's lighting you up. Also, one-on-one holistic space holding and counselling, that's done on Zoom. And stay tuned for the Sentient Sky podcast that I do with my dear sister, Rebecca Holly. We are about to record the January 2025 episode. But also, we have an event coming up which is going to go through all the major transits for 2025, probably in January, which we're very excited about. And also, coming up in 2025, my dear friend, sister Natasha Colchester, and myself are about to launch our new school. The School of Healing and Magical Arts. Stay tuned for that one. They will probably start with a podcast and mentoring through that of all the things that we know, from astrology to numerology to crystal gridding to all sorts incredible magical offerings that we have learnt through our journey. Throughout the many, many years of practice that we have acquired over the years. So stay tuned for that one, and also probably a medicine drum making that will happen early next year. Okay, thank you for going through that with me. Let's look at the chart for the Gemini full moon, and I'll just bring it up here. So this Gemini full moon is happening here right on sunset, as I said, on the 15th of December 2024, which is today. I'm not sure where I said this, recording here on the 15th of December at 1:42 p.m. So right in the energy of it. So as you can see here, the moon is here at 23 degrees and 52 minutes, and the sun is over setting. So this is the western sky. And this is the eastern sky, which is the ascendant, which is the horizon. The AS means ascendant. So the moon is going that way through our sky. So this is the sky that we can see above us. We can't see. This is underneath us at the earth. So this movement of sunrise and sunset here in this land, Australian Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Savings Time, feels pretty powerful. This Gemini full moon happening at 23 degrees and 52 minutes in the Gemini area of your chart. Gemini is represented here by two parallel lines that are crossed up the top. For me, when I see this symbol, especially in these times, it reminds me of timelines, we all start in the same place. We all go through different experiences and choose different things, but we're all on this parallel journey, and we all end up at the same place in the end. So this movement of, even if you feel someone shifting away from you, at some point we've got to trust their journey and trust our journey in it. Still standing in how, following our own hearts and guiding our own hearts. It might mean at these times we might have to let some people go. We might invite new people into our lives. But in the end, we all die and we all go back to the source. So this very earthly realm energy. And Gemini, it's a personal sign. It is very of our human bodies, this movement of self, how we move, and mutable air. It is this moving and shifting and changing and sort of back and forth and up and down. And, we can go this way, we can go that way. We can use our words to speak mean. We can use our words to speak with heart, but it's all a personal journey that we're all taking on. Gemini represents, is the lungs, it's the breath, it's the inhale and the exhale. And I feel at this portal time, when it comes to sunset, as here on this land, if we're watching this moon rise, maybe focus into your lungs, focus into your breath, and knowing that coming back into breath can help us change from one decision to another in a split second if we just come back and tune in back into our breath. It also shows us our nervous system. If we're lying and we stop for a moment and breathe, we can tune in more into where our nervous system is at. And with all the things and all the changes that are happening in the world, and especially the chaos into the lead up to the summer solstice, things can get really off kilter. It can feel very chaotic. And one of the shadow aspects of Gemini is restlessness and needing to move and needing to speak, and maybe not always speaking from a place that is of the, I was going to say heart, but of this stillness where we can make good decisions. We might get swept up in someone else's energy or the energy of the collective, especially like if you're Christmas shopping or you're out and about. This Gemini energy could have us quite scattered. Also, this Gemini full moon here in the Southern Hemisphere, this is the most light that we get for the whole year. This is the turning point because only in a couple of days, on the 21st of December, after this full moon, we have summer solstice, which is the peak full illumination of our earth, like our earthly cycle, our yearly cycle, full illumination of the peak energy of the sun. It's the longest daylight hours coming up. But with this full moon, this is the full illumination of the moon in the lead up to the summer solstice. So this is the peak. This is the brightest energy, this peak energy of the whole year for us here in the Southern Hemisphere. In the Northern Hemisphere, they've got winter solstice. So this energy of full illumination in, the just before they hit the depths of rebirth. Whereas here, we're in this whole peak energy of it's hot, it's busy, it's the energy of the mother and the father, it's movement, it's the biggest energy that we're going to get. So if you're feeling really tired and quite sort of exhausted and needing to rest with like a cold, face washer underneath the, aircon, there's good reason for that. It's a really, really peak busy time. So, that's okay. Do that. Follow, come back to your breath and follow what your inner guidance is telling you as opposed to being swept up in what's happening. So, this Gemini full moon, it's really interesting because as we see here, just before, if you're watching the eastern horizon as this full moon, you won't be able to see it because it'd be hidden by the moon because it still might, you might see it, is Jupiter. Jupiter is in retrograde. So it's really interesting, this Jupiter retrograde energy. Jupiter is the home planet of Sagittarius, which is where the sun is. And interesting enough, Mercury, who is about to station direct after its big journey through Sagittarius that started towards the end of November, is stationing direct just after this full moon, which means, and Mercury is the home sign, the ruling planet of Gemini. So there's what we call a mutual reception here. This Jupiter having a conversation with Mercury, Mercury having a conversation with Jupiter, and they're talking to each other about what is this area of Sagittarius, which is the Archer. This is the full expansion, the collective transpersonal sign of looking out beyond, communicating out beyond, looking at truth out beyond, versus this personal inner dialogue, this inner movement, this inner, I'm just thinking of, children and play and, how we look at the world with innocent and curious eyes, I think. So this is like, expansion of the collective versus the inner of the child. Out, in, out, in. So it feels like this reversing. So it's really, really interesting. It feels like with this retrograde energy of Gemini, Jupiter retrograde and Mercury have just still it's slowing down. It's actually stopping and going back. But also we have Mars in retrograde as well. We'll come back to that in a minute. But Uranus is in retrograde, Chiron's in retrograde. So there's still a lot of this retrograde energy playing out. So this is inner and outer. This is what I'm feeling, this inner conversation with what is happening on the outside and really needing to take that time to breathe. That's all I feel like saying is just coming back to the breath, coming back to the expansion of the inner world, because that Jupiter in retrograde in Gemini is like that expansion of the inner world as opposed to the expansion out into the outer world, which is a very big contradiction here in the Southern Hemisphere when there's peak energy and peak solstice and peak events, and that call to really come in will be probably be really strong right now. But we're going to keep pushing through that and exhausting ourselves. Burnout is a really big thing at this Gemini full moon, I feel. If you haven't already felt it, you might be feeling it by the time solstice rolls around. This energy of that, that keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, which is the energy of the solstice in this time of year. But actually, with all this retrograde energy, it's calling us to come back in, come back in, come back in. Okay, so this also is this 23 degrees is also hitting the galactic center. Galactic center is at 26, 27 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's very close. Galactic center is the center of our galaxy system that we're a part of. It's a system that we, as a galaxy, as the Milky Way galaxy, is moving around, and it is pulling us all in with all this gravitational pull. It's like the center of all creation within our little cluster of galaxies. So it's a very powerful full moon to come in and really dream up some, what is it that you want to see? It's, into 25, 26. This also, because the full moon is just before the summer solstice, this is the last of the 3 fertility festivals. Well, this is the final fertility peak. So we have 3 fertility festivals in a year, starting at Invoking here in the Southern Hemisphere, which is the first week of August. Spring equinox, which is the 21st, 22nd of September, and Beltane, which is the last week of October, early November. And from there, this is the planting of the seeds and the planting of the seeds and planting of the seeds. This is the final pass that we get to plant seeds in preparation for the harvest to come. Because once summer solstice hits, it will be the harvest period. It will be the waning of our sun back down to winter solstice. So this feels like the final spellcrafting that we get to do and really make use of as we're going up. So what do you want to see come into full illumination, full harvest in your harvest period? Now, this is when you do some very powerful full moon prayers with the summer solstice. So this feels a very, very powerful time with that growing energy of the sun, growing energy of the moon. Also, what we have in this chart, I'll just clear all these lines. We have Mars that just stationed retrograde last week. Mars, this masculine energy that's really needing to hold back. That's the masculine energy within ourselves, and also, outside of ourselves. It's just not men. It's the masculine energy. And how do we, to me, masculine energy is how do we move and action things with integrity and responsibility? How do we honor the structures that are here, and how do we build new structures? That's such a masculine energy to do. And this retrograde, this is a huge retrograde, because by the time Mars comes back into this spot in March, April next year, there's going to be many changes. Neptune will be in Aries. Saturn will become in Aries. This Venus will be stationed retrograde here. There's going to be a nodal shift. There's going to be so much going on come, April next year. Uranus will be getting edgier and edgier closer to it moving into Gemini. So this is really, really interesting with this Mars here needing to hold back to really think. And it feels like it goes back hand in hand on what I was saying before, that coming back into that inner world and how do we take responsibility for how we move and how we action things in the world. Mars. How do we, come to conflict with responsibility of each other's heart as opposed to just shooting off our arrow all over the place, like responsibility of other people's hearts, that holding the space for things, for all things, of all sentient things, with reverence. Mars. So this is a very, very powerful time, that this needing to reflect. RE, retrograde RE words, rest, revise, reflect, remember, is all about this. And look, and it's making this trine aspect here, this degrees here, that is harmonious between this Mercury that's just about the station direct and Mars. So there's a definite conversation with movement. Mercury is also movement connected back to this Gemini. Interesting enough, Mercury is also the guide that guides people down to the underworld, the souls to the underworld, and brings them back. So Mercury here is guiding Mars, who's needing to retreat and retract and reflect on its time, so it can come back, with more integrity, I think, with Mars, because the way that we've seen Mars play out, I'm just thinking of the patriarchal energy, war, not really considering other people's feelings. This Mars really needs to come back and have a really good think about how it starts to move through the world, how it holds respect and honor, the honoring masculine energy. The frequency of the divine masculine is what is being worked over. And what we're going to see, whatever, this retrograde, this Mars retrograde is working through, we're going to see in the outside world. So, I feel prepare, especially as, Saturn and Neptune and Venus and Mercury will be here sort of, that February, March, April next year. We might see this energy of war come up. We're already seeing in the world. But this is what we need to see. This is the thing about prayers and how it works through, our systems, that we need to allow the things that come up to see it. And this is a classic sort of, underworld journey elements of when we are calling in the light, when we're calling in the good stuff, we actually got to go down and see what lays there. And we need to, pull all the skeletons out of the carpet, out of the cupboard. We need to, shake out the rug to see what is there. Otherwise, how are we going to know what needs to be cleaned up? How do we know what lessons we need to learn if we don't see it? If we just keep on, putting another skeleton in that collar, that looking the other way, not paying attention, and things build up. It feels like debris or plaque. I'm just thinking of plaque on teeth. If you don't brush your teeth, there's going to be a big, build up a plaque. You need to clean and move, but you got to be able to see where you're brushing your teeth in the first place, if that makes sense. So this Mars has just got station direct retrograde. So this is going to be here, as I said, for many, many months. So we're going to be coming back to this Mars again and again and again. What else is happening in this chart? So the lunar nodes here, they move into Pisces, and the south node into Virgo, so January. So, there's a big month building up. We've just had Venus up here, who's just gone through a little underworld journey, this conversation that's had with Pluto here, that's moved into Aquarius now, another air sign. So this Venus, she's showing us what we need to do. She's showing us, what, was brought up with her conversation with Pluto. And then after that, she had a conversation with Mars here. This Mars, this opposite, this Venus who's connected with Pluto, just going, oh wow, Mars, come on, let this is what you need to do. Listening to the divine feminine in this time to be a guide. She's in this power here. She's standing there strong and just saying, Mars, we can't do war anymore. Like, that's really destructive. We need to come from a place of love and heart, and that's within our own lives as well. Coming to a place of understanding that, knowing that everybody's on a journey, and knowing that, we all have our things, and to honor that, and to know that we are all human, that we are all on our journeys, that we're all, you know, on this great transformational journey at this present time. Like, we're all doing it, and it might look different for everyone, and just to hold that reverence and that space holding for ourselves, but also other. And this Mars is needing to come back and look at that. This is what she's been saying. This is really, really interesting. Yeah, so it does feel like a very Gemini chart. There's lines going left, right, and center. It feels, to me, I'm feeling that chaotic energy, especially with this summer solstice, and that need to pull back, this need to come back to self, come back to the breath. That's all I feel like I need to say with this Gemini full moon. Come back to the breath. Come back to the lungs, come back to the nervous system, and hands. Gemini is about the hands. It's where things split off and become extensions into two. Come back, hands on heart, and just be and feel the full moon and the solstice energy just take us, and just be with that. Or it almost feels like a shamanic journey, especially with Gemini, Jupiter here in retrograde. It's like that shamanic journey, that inner journey that we have when we come back to breath, when we come back to heart, and when we just close ourselves, close our eyes, that inner world, and just to allow it move through you and speak to you. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this Gemini full moon report from the Temple of Nuit. You can find more about me on my Instagram at Yvonne Wildheart. Until next time, journey well out there. Happy, happy solstice. Whether you're in the northern hemisphere for winter solstice, may it be a beautiful rebirth into the next cycle. And for us here in the southern hemisphere, may you just open yourselves up and to allow this glory of this energy to shift you and change you as we move through into the next dimension. With so much love from my heart to your heart, many blessings, and we'll see you on the Capricorn new moon at the end of December. Much love. Take care. Bye for now.